So we'll start with this is video 9, okay, and then introduction of Gunia worm eradication program. So this Gunia worm is also called as Dracunculiasis, okay, which is caused by a nematode. When we say nematode, it is a worm. I've shared the pictures there, so you can go through. Worm such as roundworm, threadworm, okay, and which is Dracunculus medinensis, okay, that is the name. The adult female gunia worm, so it is actually a female worm measuring 60 to 100 centimeter in length, emerges through the skin, usually lower limb. So it enters through the skin, mainly you can see, through the lower limb, okay. So it causes swelling, it leads ulceration and discomfort to the patients once after getting infected. Then gunia worm disease is transmitted by drinking water containing copepods. So this also I have just mentioned the screenshot of the picture. You can watch. It is also called as water fleas that are infected with Dracunculiasis medinensis. So these copepods which are found in the water, it will be infected with this gunia worm. So once when they drink this water which is infected with copepods, which is already infected with this Dracunculiasis medinensis, so it leads to gunia worm infestation. So we see that these copepods are also small microscopic aquatic which lives in the water, okay, crustacean of the large class. So you can see that it is also a microscopic organism, okay. It is not easily visual in the eyes. Only through the microscope we can find if the water has been infected with copepods or not. Okay, so what is the global scenario? So the World Health Assembly adopted resolution in 1991 to eradicate gunia worm by 1995. So they thought by 1995, by 1991 they decided to eradicate completely by the year 1995, and then overall the annual incidence of gunia worm disease has declined from 8,92,055 cases reported in 1989 to 4,619 in 2000. From 98 to 2008, it is a drastic improvement, right? 2 cases reported to WHO in January to February 2014. Cases compared with 3 cases for the same period in 2013, and decrease of 33%. So it was a drastic change that brought in. So total number of cases in 2013 was only 148, from lakhs to thousands. Now it is in hundreds in 13, okay, 148 cases. So compared with 542 in 2012, again it has come back, right? So I mean it has dropped down. So a decrease of 73% was there. So 4 endemic countries in 2013 were Chad, Ethiopia, Mali and South Sudan, okay, mostly malnourished areas. Okay, now these are the global scenario. So as a whole, how much was the case? So initially we see that it was in lakhs, and it dropped down to thousands, and it dropped down to 500s, and it dropped down to hundreds. And mainly it is found in endemic, like 4 endemic countries like Chad, Ethiopia, Mali and South Sudan, okay. So next we will go to gunia worm eradication in India. So we'll see when it was started and how efficiently it was brought down with the cases. So encouraged with the success of smallpox eradication, with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India launched the National Gunia Worm Eradication Program in 1983 to 84 as a centrally sponsored scheme on a 50:50 sharing basis between center and states, with the objective of eradicating gunia. So it was a contribution of the central government as well as the state. When we see, it was 50:50 in the ratio. So they worked together in the objective of eradicating gunia worm disease from the country. So it was launched in the year 1983 to 84. So the National Institute of Communicable Diseases, NICD, Delhi was designated as a nodal agency for planning, coordination, guidance and evaluation of EWEP in the country. The program was implemented by the endemic state health directorates through the primary healthcare center. So this was actually done by the PHC, and then the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, State Public Health Engineering Departments and the Rajiv Gandhi National Drinking Water Mission, Rural Water Supply assisted the program in provision, maintenance of safe water, drinking water supplies. That is the main, right. So copepods were developed in that, which will be infected with the gunia worm. So they concentrated more only on the safety of the drinking water, which actually helped in conversion of unsafe drinking water sources on priority in the gunia worm affected areas. So they concentrated more on the areas where they were already affected. So working on this, it helped in gunia worm eradication. So gunia worm Morbidity in India, 1984, almost two-thirds of the total cases occurred in Rajasthan, 38%, and Madhya Pradesh, 29%, Karnataka, 13%, Andhra Pradesh, 11%, Maharashtra, 8%, and Gujarat, 1% accounted for the remaining cases. So overall, it contributed for about two-thirds, and they have given. So highest, if we say, it was in Rajasthan, and the least was in Gujarat. Karnataka also had cases of 13%. Okay, so in the year, this was in the 1984. So important strategy. So what was the various strategy that they carried out? So important strategies were the important strategy adopted to eradicate the gunyah worm. So gunyah worm case detection and continuous surveillance. So close observation was done, case detection was done, then management of the case through treatment was done, then vector control by application of TEMPOS in unsafe water sources 8 times a year. So they used to apply this TEMPOS in the water for 8 times a year and use a fine linen mesh double layer to strain. Okay, so this double layer nylon cloth will be used to strain the water so that it can filter the cyclops in all the affected ages. Though it is microscopic, when they have used this fine nylon mesh or double layered cloth, it has helped in filtering the cyclops. Okay, then health education, then training, manpower development, concurrent evaluation and operational research conducting to see if they were affected and how well this management was working, like nylon cloth, as well as taking care of the water, and then provision and maintenance of safe drinking water supply on priority in gunyah worm endemic villages. So these are all the various important strategies that was carried out. Then talking about the achievement, at the beginning of the program in 1984, there were around 40,000 gunyah worm cases in 12,840 villages in 89 districts of 7 endemic states. During 1996, only 9 gunyah worm cases. So drastic change was brought. Okay, has been recorded in 3 villages, that was in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. Rest of the country continued to be free from gunyah worm. Then Banwari Lal, 25 years old, from Jodhpur in Rajasthan, was the last case, and he became world history now. Okay, so he was the last case in India in 1996. 0 incidents has been maintained since August 1996 through active surveillance and intensified field monitoring in the endemic areas. In the meeting of WHO in February 2000, the India has been credited for the elimination of, by 2000, it is a good thing, gunyah worm disease, and 15 February 2001 declared India as gunyah worm disease free. Okay, so we have done with the gunyah worm eradication program. Okay, so next we will go to leprosy eradication program. So with this we will be stopping, maybe one more video. Okay, so we will stop with this leprosy. Okay, so talking about the leprosy, we all know that it is a communicable disease, and it's probably the very oldest afflicting the mankind, and possibly it was originated in Africa and spread very early to India, and from there to China. So in Vedic reference it means, so in Hindi usually we say that Kushta Rog. Okay, it has the maximum social stigma attached to it because people are so scared, they were hit, they were killed sometimes because it was highly communicable. Okay, so I also remember about a missionary, right, who worked for this leprosy people in Orissa, and the missionary was killed, right. Graham Staines and his family, they were actually working towards the this leprosy people. When Indian people were not able to care for their own infected with leprosy, it was this missionary who had the center. He used to do dressing, his family used to assist. Okay, and then so he also gave them rehabilitation centers because family members, even after the cure, they were not accepting the people. So much was a stigma. Okay, but this missionary from Australia, he came here and he has served for so many years, and he has worked and he has brought a great impact among leprosy people. Okay, and India rewarded him by killing. Okay, then a common belief that leprosy is due to past sins committed by the person. Then Hansen of Norway during 1873 discovered leprae bacilli. Yes, so many people believe that it is because of the sin God has punished. Even in Bible it is like that, so whenever wrath of God came, people were infected with leprosy. So that was the common thought of people. But we also see later that Hansen of Norway during 1873, he discovered leprae bacilli, which is a causative organism that causes the leprosy. Therefore, the disease is also known as Hansen's disease because Hansen was found, he found the bacilli, so it was named after his name. It was named after him, okay, Hansen's disease. So sulfone drug example, dapsone was discovered in 1943 for the treatment of leprosy. So with the introduction of multi-drug treatment during 1981, this disease is well under control and may be eradicated. So the establishment of the Indian Council of the British Empire Leprosy Relief Associated in 1925, it was actually renamed in India as Hindu Kusht Nivaran Sangh in 1947, laid the foundation of organized leprosy work in India. So the fear of this is it used to just eat up, right, the nose, the nose, the ears, the fingers, and the droplet, the fluid would fall, and sometimes looking at them also was very scary. So that was also one of the reason why there was a very big social stigma where people ignored them to the maximum. Okay, so global leprosy situation. So the WHO launched a 5-year global leprosy strategy during 2016 to 2020. So in April 2016, it titled Accelerating Towards a Leprosy-Free World. This was built on the earlier 5-year strategy 2011 to 15 that focused on early leprosy detection to reduce disabilities. Challenges remain: continued delay in detecting new patients, persisting discrimination against people affected by leprosy, and limited impact on transmission of leprosy. Perhaps the strategy for year 2016 to 20 is built around 3 pillars. So still there are challenges that is there, delay in detecting new cases, or discrimination that happens, people who are affected with the people. But perhaps the strategy for year 16 and 20 is built around 3 pillars. What are those? So to strengthen government ownership, coordination and partnership. So they need adequate resources, help from the government. Then to stop leprosy and its complications, to stop discrimination and promote inclusion. So differentiating them, but then rather including them. So these are the main 3 pillars that was included in the strategy. Okay, burden of leprosy. So here you can see the various cases that were affected in different years. So 2005, the elimination of leprosy at national level has been achieved, but still around 57% of the world's leprosy affected person live in India. Still there are 554 districts, that is 81.23% out of 682 districts have achieved elimination by March 2017. The current global prevalence is estimated by the World Health Organization to be 0.23 per 10,000 population. So you can just go through and you can just read how much of the cases were infected. Milestones, you can also go through this, what it is given according to the year 1955, 1983, 1981 till 2012 to 2017. You can just go through and you can study that, okay, which is given in the diagram, page 11. So next we will go to National Leprosy Eradication Program. So how it was carried, okay. So it was launched, this program NLEP was launched by Government of India in 1955, which was based on dapsone monotherapy, okay. So that's a drug. So multi-drug therapy came into wide use from 1982, after which the program was renamed as National Leprosy Eradication Program. So when it was in 1982, when the program became National Leprosy, they also used multi-drug therapy for the patients who were affected with leprosy. Before that, it was only dapsone monotherapy, only one therapy. Okay. So the program was expanded with the World Bank assistance, of course, for financial assistance from 1993 to 94 to 2003 to 2004, with the objective to achieve elimination of leprosy as a public health problem by 2005. They wanted to eradicate completely, thereby reducing the case load to less than 1 in 10,000 population. That was their target. So NLEP was decentralized already, we have seen, from the central government. Okay, the resources will be distributed to the state, okay, or the district level. And leprosy services were integrated with general health care system 2001 to 2002 onwards. So this helped, so decentralization actually helped in reduction of stigma and discrimination against person affected with leprosy. Okay, so PAL means person affected with leprosy. Free multi-drug therapy was given, is being provided at all sub-centers, PHC, government hospital and dispensaries in all working days. Now goal of NHP, we know for every program it is to achieve and maintain elimination status. Even after eradicating, it should be maintained of leprosy by 2018. So what is the strategy? Early detection through active surveillance by trained health workers. So trained health workers, they made sure that it is being detected Then regular treatment should be given with multi-drug therapy at fixed centers. So already we have seen which is nearby villages of moderate to lower endemic districts. So where all it can be provided, PHC, government sectors, dispensaries. Okay. Then intensified health education, public awareness giving to remove social stigma. Okay. So after they are completely cured, family also should be made ready to receive them. So that has to be taught. Health education has to be given. Okay. Then appropriate medical rehabilitation and leprosy ulcer. Once if they have developed ulcer, then that care services also should be given to them. Okay, so these are all the strategy of NLEP. So next video, in that we will see the next part of the leprosy program.